On this edition of Wildcat News, hands-on creativity, real-world instructions, a chance at a do-over, and everyone's favorite activity, watching TV from the couch. Stick around. Welcome to Wildcat News. I'm Erin Delamota. As a high school actress and vocalist, I must admit being in love with the magic of Broadway. While the spotlights always shine on the performers on the stage, without the amazing sets behind them, the shows would not be the same.
You may think that you know where all the classes in Warwick are, but keep going past the new gym, down the staircase outside, and tucked away in a corner is a door leading to one of our most overlooked classes.
This class is different from anything else that's in the building because not only is it an art course, but it's also kind of a hands-on carpentry course. It's a design course. It really gives each individual a new perspective on something that they see. You know, when you go to see a show, you see the sets that are in the background, but you don't really think about perhaps maybe where they came from or what it took to create them.
It's hard to believe that all of our sets in previous plays and musicals were completely constructed by Warwick students. They transformed simple pieces of wood into ornate works that mimic their real-life counterparts. It's certainly not glamorous work, though. The spotlight forever shines on actors and conductors, but rarely do we see a nod to those lurking behind the curtains. So why would one choose to stray away from center stage?
Set design, I joined it because I was in Odyssey of the Mind for a number of years, and that included set building, prop building, costume designing, and everything, and I've always been really interested in that. So doing this class was definitely, for me, especially to get more experience on using these tools.
I like, getting to be involved and with the whole set, because when you're watching the plays, the sets are super cool, so actually being able to paint them and watch them be built up from the ground is just fun to look at.
The power of sawing a plank in half is definitely different from the elegant strokes of a brush, but both are art in their own ways. It's especially easy to see these sets' artistic values once they're placed on stage to support amazing performances and resonating music. Their next project is all about our latest musical, Little Shop of Horrors, and the students are definitely excited to build a Broadway classic.
My favorite part, personally, is the set itself. It's a very interestingly designed set. In my opinion, it's a lot of moving parts, and I'm not really accustomed to that, but it's nice to have something new.
This set has lots of fun secret tricks that I can't tell you about, so those are pretty cool. They are working on them at the moment, you just don't know what they are. But the visual part of this set, just that you are sitting back and seeing from the crowd, I think is going to be pretty stunning.
Warwick has such a range of classes that it's refreshing to see that variety extends to this overlooked medium of creativity, gracing it with the support and opportunities students passionate in the craft deserve.
So the kids that are in this class usually come in with not too much knowledge of what a set is, how to go about designing it, and really maybe they don't even know how to use some of the tools. But by the end, they're pretty proficient in everything. Really, I think it's a well-rounded course that gives everybody an opportunity to really be creative and show some really talented skills.
If you're interested in set design, be sure to choose it once guidance starts planning schedules for next year. This is Matt Doherty with WVTV, signing off.
Little Shop of Horrors is a hilarious, gruesome musical. The last time it was performed at the high school was in 2010, so you certainly don't want to miss this year's show. Annually, there is another artistic undertaking at the high school that leads to an auction that directly benefits the artist. It all starts by taking something that is old and discarded.
In Warwick Valley High School, there is a special auction hosted every year, an auction where chairs are recycled from old ones and are remade and redesigned into a better chair.
The chair auction is a really good experience because it's the first time that many students have the opportunity to really sell their art and spend a lot of time working on this art.
Seniors and juniors will create these works of art to be sold off and will even be able to keep all the profits for whatever they may need. This is a great way to help build some funding and notoriety for future schooling.
So I do think the chair club is an incredibly important thing for the art department. Not just because you spend time to craft the chair out of an old chair, resand it and paint it, but it's also just the idea that you are selling something to the public that people would like to buy, and it's just really nice for people to just get the satisfaction of buying something that they worked really hard on over the year.
Okay, so for Chair Club, I really like how you're able to display your art for a group of people, and they're able to buy it, and you can possibly make a pretty large amount of money for scholarships for college and, all of that kind of stuff.
This process is thanks to their teacher, Ms. Spano, who assists the students in designing and painting their chairs.
Hi, I'm Kristen Spano. I'm one of the mentors for Warwick Valley High School Chair Club. Chair Club is an excellent opportunity for students to participate who are juniors or seniors and would like to refurbish a chair, sand it down, and refinish it with an original work of art. Many of us in the art department also participate in the chair auction, and we also refurbish a chair, sand it down, and paint them. Now, 100% of the proceeds from our chairs go directly back to student scholarships.
Every year, their chairs are made in amazing quality, and some of the teachers themselves would purchase one. Even as of now, I can tell the chairs are going to be great this year.
I really enjoy the chair club because I feel like it really gives artists an opportunity to paint on different mediums. We don't always just do chairs, we have some people doing tables and other projects, and it really gives students a chance to show where their potential shines, and so I think that's really good for the artist community here.
The auction of 2022 begins around May, so make sure you all keep an eye open for these one-of-a-kind works of art. I'm Jarrett Mulqueen, and I'm wishing you all a good day.
The students have been engaged in their creative process for several months. The scholarship fund directly supports graduating seniors who plan to pursue art in college. Be sure to keep an eye open for the auction in May. When Wildcat News returns, students leave the building in the dead of winter to learn, and what would you change in your past if you could?
Welcome to New Hearts, the home source. Here at our store, you'll find a variety of items featuring children's toys, jewelry, kitchen tools, and everything in between. Found something that's really caught your eye? Come speak with one of our staff members. They're passionate about their jobs, and you'll find they're always willing to help.
I love working with everybody. They're super friendly, super knowledgeable of what's going on, and they always have a plan, and it's always something creative and new.
One of the things we take pride in is our window displays, where we showcase unique merchandise you can find at our store. And the best part about these displays is that they're constantly changing throughout the year. So stop by often to see and enjoy our one-of-a-kind window dressings.
Over the years, the store has developed and redefined itself over and over. And that's what's always been exciting about having a business in a community like Warwick. It's always changing, there's always something new. It's an exciting place to live, but it's also really great to have a business here.
New Hearts has been run by Michael Newhart and his two sisters for over 35 years and counting. So please come support our local business. We'd love to have your patronage. For more information, you can call New Hearts at 845-986-4544 or email us at info@newhearts.com. New Hearts, the home source.
Welcome back to Wildcat News. I'm Erin Delamota. While most students sit at a desk for class, recently a certain group of environmental students had their instruction out in the woods behind the football field. Some of what they went out to study have been waiting for them over 50 years.
For 6 hours a day, all students sit at desks and listen to their teachers talk. But in the last few months, Mr. Tao's AP environmental class has been able to do a few labs outside.
It's cool to be out here and to actually be cataloging these trees and learning how to do this. I wouldn't really know how to do this well, just learning it in the classroom. It was pretty hard the first time I came out here, even after learning how to do it in the classroom. So
For this lab, the students were tasked with learning how the price of lumber differentiates for different tree types. And just being allowed to work hands-on kickstarts the day for these students.
Well, I feel like it makes it more interactive because like when you're just in the lab room, it's kind of, you're interacting with like the chemicals or whatever you're using. But like being outside kind of makes it more fun. Like today is cold, but it's more like interactive, I feel like. And we get to be like maskless and kind of be with each other in a sense. So.
Well, it's better to be outside because you get the fresh air and you get to actually do real field work instead of seeing other scientists do it, so you can get a feel for what we're actually going to be doing and what environmental scientists do.
And this isn't the class's first outdoor hands-on lab. Earlier this school year, Mr. Tao's class visited a local creek connected to Warwick's treatment plant, which the class also toured. And even Mr. Tao personally believes that these trips do good for his students.
Education is all about experience, and so as an educator, I think that it's important that students experience the real world around them outside the four walls of the high school building, and it helps them to become more informed citizens, players in their community, and better educated.
Students' favorite part of the school day. For WVTV, I'm Riley Kupo, back to the studio.
Mr. Tao's classes often head out to connect their classroom's knowledge with hands-on activities because, as they say, experience is the best form of instruction. Speaking of experience, do you stop and think about some of the things you did in the past? Is there something that if you could get a do-over, you would change?
With the year 2022 being here, people are working on their New Year resolutions. You may only be able to work towards the future, but what if we could go back and fix a past mistake or do something differently? That's the question I asked the students of Warwick Valley High School, and if they had anything they would do over in their life.
If I could repeat anything in my life, probably picking out a different shirt at the mall the other day. I would have liked that.
If I had the chance to do over anything in my life, I think maybe it would have been some of my middle school years. I lost a few friends that I think nowadays I would like to still have.
One thing that I would redo is not getting in trouble with the school system. It's a terrible thing, and it really taints your relationship with all the teachers and the principals.
Something I would want to redo is my year on the tennis season. I feel like I wish I would have practiced more so I could get a higher position in the lineup.
Now, if I had to redo something in my life, I would most definitely say middle school, due to past decisions and most definitely my grades for the most part. And I guess just to be more myself, if that makes sense.
It seems that the students would only do some minor changes or none at all. But does age make a difference in past mistakes? To answer this question, I asked some of the teachers for their thoughts on this.
If I had one thing to do over, it would be nicer to my teachers in high school.
I remember when I was young, I spoke to my grandfather about being a farmer. He had owned a dairy farm, and I had asked him, I said, "Grandpap, what's it like being a farmer?" Because I knew I liked animals and I liked being outside. And he said to me, he said, "Danny, don't be a farmer. The only time farmer makes money is when he sells his farm." So I didn't explore it. In hindsight, I've gone on in my life and I realized I really like animals. I really like being outside. And I can't help but wonder, like, what would life have been if I had become a farmer?
If I could redo anything in my life, I would pursue further pursue my martial arts experience as well as gaming experience.
Honestly, I don't think I would change much in my life. Life is like that sometimes. You have peaks, you have valleys, and things that go wrong, you learn from those experiences, and it makes you a better person in the long run. So, I mean, of course, there are things that I would love to be different, but I don't think I would change anything because out of those experiences, I feel like there was growth.
It seems that it's the same for teachers. They would do something minor over or do absolutely nothing at all. As for me, I think I'd like to do my sophomore year in high school over.
since I'd just come from several years in homeschooling and was fairly shy for my first year. I think it would have worked out pretty well for me in the long run. This has been Jarrett Mulqueen, and I will see you all in the new year.
Second guessing is a game we all play at some point. As Mr. C, my video production teacher, likes to say, experience is what you get when you get something you didn't want. Wildcat News will be right back.
When you have a craving for fresh, delicious food made to order quickly, look no further than Greenwood Lake Bagels and Bakery for eat-in, takeout, or delivery 7 days a week. Our bakery offers fresh, store-made muffins, cookies, cupcakes, pies, custom cakes, and so much more. For many years now, Greenwood Lake Bagels and Bakery is the go-to place for bagels, breakfast sandwiches, lunch specials, baked goods, and dessert. Family owned and operated, Greenwood Lake Bagels and Bakery is proud to be a member of the Laker community. We are open 7 days a week to serve this community breakfast, lunch, snacks, and dessert. Enjoy our food here in the store, outside at our tables, or delivered to your home, office, or boat. Treat yourself, your family, and friends to breakfast, lunch, or dessert from Greenwood Lake Bagels and Bakery at 93 Windermere Ave in Greenwood Lake, or call us at 845-595-1688 or visit us on the web at gwlbagels.com.
Welcome back to Wildcat News. I'm Erin Delamota. One of the greatest things about being a superhero is always coming out on top. But how would you do this if you were a public competitor was an alternate version of yourself?
With the recent release of Spider-Man's No Way Home, I decided to ask people who their favorite Spider-Man is.
My favorite Spider-Man so far is Andrew Garfield because I grew up watching him and he had a great impact on my life. And with Tom Holland, I'm kind of there, but I need a good feel of him for him to really fit Andrew Garfield's shoes.
My favorite Spider-Man is Andrew Garfield because he's just like the Spider-Man I grew up with and stuff.
My favorite Spider-Man is Tobey Maguire because he's the original Spider-Man and he made 3 amazing films.
So my favorite Spider-Man is Andrew Garfield because he is the hottest and I love his acting skills and his performance in the movie.
My favorite version of Spider-Man is Tom Holland because he's younger, so he relates to a younger audience.
My favorite Spider-Man is Tom Holland because, I just like his movies the most. I think he's funny. I think the other guys, they look too old. He looks like an actual 17-year-old, even though, I know they're all old, but to me, he looks the most realistic. And, I think Toby was a little too nerdy, and then Andrew's like not nerdy enough. I think he's right there. And he's a gymnast, so he's got that like actual kind of Spider-Man physique. But you know what? He does not have any lips, so he's getting a little points off of that.
Well, there you have it, folks. Personally, I love all the Spider-Men, but I would have to go with Andrew on this one. Like anybody else said in the video, I did grow up with him also, but I feel like all the Spider-Men kind of bring something to the table. But for Warwick Valley Television, JASIRA Gay reporting.
Spider-Man No Way Home is the most recent take on the story that began in 1962. A poor sickly orphan named Peter Parker was bitten by a radioactive spider, and the rest is now a cinematic franchise. Franchises not only happen in films, but also in television. And while reality shows have recently become all the rage, long before them, we had comedies.
With the recent unfortunate passing of Bob Saget, it's better to remember the happy memories than the sad ones. So today, I'm going around asking people, what is your favorite sitcom and why?
My favorite sitcom in recent years, I've had a lot over the years, but my favorite one in recent years is Schitt's Creek. I don't know how many of you have seen it. I think it's fantastic. I was one of those who started watching it originally when it was on the Pop Network, and then I had a lot of people join the bandwagon, but I just love it. I think the characters are great. They're quirky. It's You just enjoy watching them go through everything they go through, and they're just a lot of fun. Moira Rose is great as she evolves over, I think it's 5 or 6 seasons, but my favorite is definitely Schitt's Creek.
My favorite sitcom, I would say, is probably Parks and Rec, just because the character development is really good between everybody, and like the general plot line is really interesting to follow.
My favorite sitcom is probably BoJack Horseman. I don't know, he's just mad funny. Yeah, BoJack Horseman. Yeah, he's like depressed. And it's funny, cause he's BoJack Horseman. He's like famous.
My favorite sitcom is That 70s Show because I really like the way Mila Kunis plays Jackie.
So my favorite sitcom is Arrested Development. This show is one that I had heard of for many years but never really watched, and then I watched it in the pandemic, and I just love how every single episode lays it just kind of throws out a couple different seeds, and then everything gets picked up in the climax of the episode, and it's you forgot that they said something in the beginning, and it always comes back, and it's funnier than you could imagine. I just really love the situations in that show. Highly recommend it, Arrested Development.
My favorite sitcom is most definitely Parks and Rec, totally just because it feels entirely real. The characters really immerse you in the setting, the jokes all hit, and the entire show's banging. I watched it several times. I've got it on VHR. I used to watch it on Netflix, but they took it off, and I'll miss Parks and Rec forever for that reason.
Well, there you have it. It's nice to see that pretty much all of society as a whole has a favorite sitcom. My personal favorite is Friends, for the New York-based humor and the difficult situations that would never happen in real life. For WVTV, I'm Jaslina Lug. Back to you.
So what sitcoms make you laugh? For me, it's How I Met Your Mother because of the amazing cast and Neil Patrick Harris. For Wildcat News, I'm Erin Delmoda. Thank you for watching. We'll see you all next time.
When you adopt a shelter pet, you discover all the things that make them unique.
And your mother.
They're a little bit of a lot of things, but they're all pure love.
When we adopt a shelter pet, we discover they're a unique mix of all kinds of things. There it is. Keep going with it. Leo! They're a little bit of a lot of things, but they're all pure love.